It's truly exciting. In fact, I have a reputation for being overexcited about this stuff sometimes.
They can make quite a lot of money.
Some people think I'm a mad scientist, and, well, I am.
Hello, I'm Ron Barber of Takeoff. If there is anybody under the age of 16 or 17 who hasn't played at least some video games, then he or she has probably been residing in a cave somewhere. Video games have become modern-day magnets for most kids, and that, as you can imagine, is very good news for those who make and sell video games. You would imagine that a lot of the creative types who conjure up these wild flights of fancy make a lot of money. And you'd be right.
The most highly talented, most accomplished people in this business are, you know, a little bit like rock stars or something, to the extent that they can make quite a lot of money if they show that they have the talent and the dedication, the ability to create really successful games. The potential is there to make quite a lot of money.
The largest creator of video games is known to you in one simple four-letter word: Sega. The most famous character in video gamedom is known to you in one simple five-letter word: Sonic.
Sonic is the company mascot, basically. Sonic was sort of created by the chairman of the company, recognizing that it would be a good thing if Sega could have a real recognizable mascot, something that everyone in the world could associate with the name Sega.
Sega these days might as well be spelled B-A-N-K for bank, and Sonic might as well be spelled M-O-N-E-Y. You've heard the old phrase, license to print money, generally meaning that someone or some product is so successful they've gotten a license to print money. Some examples are very successful people like Bill Cosby, or groups like the Rolling Stones, or products like Post-it notes and video games.
Let's go, Goldar!
It's always interesting to find out how people get jobs and start careers where they make a lot of money and have so much fun doing it. Where else can you imagine going to an important product meeting in your shorts?
It's a limited market. I mean, who's going to want to buy it?
What if the bowling ball was fuzzy and cute with eyes? Yeah.
We have a lot of different people here, people with different kinds of backgrounds and skills. We have programmers, computer programmers, we have computer graphic artists, we have animators, we have musicians, people who compose, create music, and we have game designers who really focus in on game design.
They also have offices that, well, don't really resemble most offices we've come to expect.
We have basically an office here where there's all kinds of toys and all kinds of things to do. We're, of course, working on games all the time, and this is what a game looks like when it's in the stage where we're working on it. It doesn't look like the game cartridge. It really is, this is a prototype game. This game will be plugged into a Sega Genesis here. When you plug this game in, basically we get the real thing. This is a game that's in an early stage, and we have the ability to check all the different levels of the game without having to play the game. That's one of the advantages of having a game in this particular stage.
Now, how would you like to work only the hours you would choose to work? Of course, you'd be expected to produce, but all in all, it sounds rather enticing, what?
We generally don't watch over them from the standpoint of, making sure that they come in the morning at a certain time or something like that. They are allowed a great deal of personal freedom during the day. They can kind of come and go from the office when they feel like it.
Let's explore this further. We'll wend our way into Sega, hop up the elevator, and take a little look around. What do you say?
Hi, welcome to Sega.
Instead of a stuffy receptionist's office with old magazines no one ever reads, you'll be able to play a Sega video game of your choosing, or have a few words with Sonic himself. After a brief wait, if you're fortunate, and we were fortunate that day, you just might get an invite to chat with one of the big cheeses at Sega.
My name is Roger Hector. I'm the Vice President and General Manager of Sega Technical Institute. When I was in high school, I was one of these guys that always drew little sketches and doodles on the sides of my papers. And the one thing that I really wanted to do is I wanted to design cars. And at that time, there was no such thing as computer games. Really, it was when I was in high school, they hadn't been invented yet.
Actually, it wasn't this highway where Roger had planned to start his career. It was this highway.
I did go to school. I got a degree in automobile engineering, and I wanted to get a job in Detroit designing cars. And as it turned out, when I was ready to go work there, it was a very bad time for the automobile industry, and there were no jobs available. So I had to figure out something else to do. I had a lot of training in design, in engineering, and in sketching and art. And so what I wound up doing is almost by chance, stumbling into a little company at that time that no one had ever heard of before. It was a little, what they call a startup company, and the name of the company was Atari. It was a very exciting place to work. It was a lot of fun. And it was a lot more fun than I ever expected anyone could have in a job.
Yeah, I can believe that designing and playing video games for a living would be a lot more fun than some jobs, wouldn't you?
32X makes processing power 40 times faster. Totally extreme gameplay.
Computers and computer programming will most likely always be in demand. And very good computer programmers are people that are actually a little bit hard to find these days, and there's really a high level of demand. There are many jobs available for actually all of the people that can contribute to and create games. Computer graphic artists who have learned how to use computers to generate their art are also very much in demand. Animators, people with animation skills, it's kind of a subset of computer graphics. But also, those are people that are very much in demand. Game designers. Now, it's a little hard to pursue game design because it isn't necessarily offered as a curriculum in high school, but certainly people that really enjoy playing games have opportunities to move into the game design business, usually through a game testing department.
Hi, my name is Howard. I'm a music director for Sega Technical Institute, and I do all the Music's and sound effect. Where are you going? Hi, my name is Howard. I'm music director for Sega Technical Institute. Hi, my name is Howard Drawson. I'm music director for Sega Technical Institute, and I have all this great equipment here, which was paid for by Sega, of course. This is my board. All of these sound modules you see in front of you are all run through this board, and then I get mixing levels on each of them, and that's how I put the music together. For Genesis development, I use this computer, and I'm able to manipulate the sounds here in the Genesis. That little crazy looking thing sticking out of it is a music development card, which makes it possible for me to do what I have to do. And I make the voices, flutes, drums, whatever, and I sequence them on the computer. And then it gets downloaded into the game, and then we have music and sound effects in the game. So some people think I'm a mad scientist, and, well, I am. First, the team that's doing the game will come to me with the game, and we'll take a look at it and spec it out and so forth and discuss what sounds are going to go where, what style of music, and usually they have a pretty good idea about what style, but I'll always offer my opinions. And then I'll usually begin with the music first, and I make the sounds, once again, in the Genesis over there with that development system. And I'll usually start out maybe with a drum beat. I'll make some sounds and I'll take some drums like these, sampled drums. So I can actually play them into the computer and sequence them in such a way, you know, like, or anything I want. And I can create this loop and these, and kind of a drum sound going on. Then I'll take, say, well, this isn't a great example, but we have a clarinet. And I can play some chords over the top of it and actually make my music, make a melody or something. As far as sound effects go, a lot of the sound effects are digitized, meaning that we actually digitally record them much in the same way that that drum you heard was. And we put in the game, so if you hear an explosion or someone yelling or something like that, it's actually just kind of a recording of it, but it's in a very low resolution. It's 8-bit at 10 kilohertz, and it's not great yet, but it's getting better. I started out playing in bands, and I actually went to college and got a degree in film scoring, and I scored for movies and etc. And it was persistence and hard work is the key, and studying what music came before you, studying the great masters, great music of the past and great music of the present as well, because there's always something to be learned from it.
My name is Dean Ruggles, and I'm an animator here at Sega. And right now I'm animating the main character of a new game. And my job is to create the character and all the actions that he's planned to do. Running and jumping and throwing and kicking and all those very fun things. It's more fun to watch when it's finished than to watch me do it. It's kind of slow. It takes a long time to make an animation. You can see here on the screen what I'm doing is when I see the whole action in motion, I can adjust each individual frame until it looks like a correct action. If he's jumping too high, I can lower him down a little bit. If I want to add a little drag on his hair, so he has a ponytail that follows behind him, I can add that. When you add drag, it adds an illusion of movement. And ponytails and loose clothing are really fun to do because they help to help convince the illusion that this object is natural. After a while, I can clean all this up and it will look more natural. After I get all the motion down, it takes about 2 days to get the whole action finished. And especially a character like this, which is fairly complex.
But the burning question is, how do you get a job at Sega?
What I did to get this job was I did a lot of things on my own at first, and I showed that I understood the medium, the computer, and limitations of drawing with big pixels.
Did he say pixels?
I just went on my own and did my own film, and that was part of my portfolio. I showed what I could do. It's the art director and the senior producer that come in and criticize. And they say, well, make him skinnier, give him more muscles, make his shoulders broader, make him green, give him a different kind of jacket, and make the action quicker. Do it in fewer frames. The games are all pretty quick. You do them in a matter of months.
Get it over!
Of course, there's always someone responsible for keeping the troops moving along toward common goals. At Sega Technical Institute, they're more like cheerleaders urging the team on to victory.
Hi, my name's Dean. I'm producer at Sega. My job is basically to oversee all the projects that Sega and STI specifically do. I have a responsibility to look after Sega's money, the money that they've invested in the games, and to ensure that the games are of the best quality we can make. One of the big games we're doing and have been doing here are the Sonic games, and I've got an example up here on the screen. This is Sonic 3, which was produced here at STI. I get sent pre-production versions of the software, which I play on my Sega Genesis, which is exactly the same machine as some of you have probably got at home. I check that the software works properly, that there are no problems or faults with the game, that it plays well and that it's a lot of fun, and ensure that there are no areas where people will find dissatisfaction with the product. It's an overall quality assurance kind of role. The route to get into producing video games is not very clear. There's all different sorts of backgrounds that people come from before they come into this. I actually started in medicine, to give you some example of how diverse the people are that come into video games and producing. I did medicine for a few years, and then my love for video games was too powerful, and I changed careers to come into this. Other suggestions of how you can become a producer are usually to come through design. If you've got great ideas for games, you've been working on paper, or you've planned out how your great game would work, you can try and approach companies and suggest that the games ideas that you've got are worthwhile, and come in through design. Design some games, show that you know what you're doing, and ultimately that will lead into a position of responsibility where you can look after games that other people are doing and help them with their designs and manage it on a day-to-day basis. Experience counts for everything, so the best thing to do is make a few games, understand how these things work, and then gradually work your way up to a management position.
Hello, I'm Adrian. I'm a technical director at STI, which means that I'm basically a programmer, but I have other responsibilities as well.
Programmers are the people that are right in the heart and the soul of the program, of the game. The programmer is the person that really makes the whole game work. There are basically the responsibilities of the programmer are to write the program that is read by the game machine, and the game machine interprets that program and basically displays the game. And the person that writes the game program is very much like an author of a book.
Math skills are very important. If I show you this board, these are the sort of maths that go on in doing a 3D game, which are going to become more and more popular in the future. Programming, of course, is a vital skill. That's something you can pick up just from talking to friends and doing it as a hobby. But also it's very useful to go to college and find out how to do it properly and professionally. We use this computer here. This is just a normal PC that people use in business every day. We hook it up through a lead into the Genesis, which is exactly the same as the one people have at home, into this box here, which we stick in the cartridge slot. And we can send a new version of the game through this wire into this box, and then run it like a normal Genesis. We can stop it. We can see what's going on. We can stop the screen. We can start it again. We can look at all the variables, all the registers of the machine, and work out exactly what's going on. And that helps us find any bugs, any problems with the program before we release the game and get lots of complaints from the purchasers.
From the background to the foreground, women are finding career opportunities open to them in the video gaming industry as well.
Hi, I'm Marty, and I'm a computer graphic artist at Sega of America, and I'm a background artist. I got into the industry because I was attracted to the fine art aspect of computer games, and I worked as an illustrator for many years and saw that this industry employed graphic artists and illustrators. And I create the backgrounds over which the animations will be overlaid, and these are basically the backgrounds to show the gameplay of the games, and the environments that the characters will act out the games. I'm working with a computer and next to a television screen so that I can draw and then transmit to the television screen and see what the game will look like when it's actually viewed on the television. As you can see, I'm moving a stamp around on the screen. Well, this is a stamp that I can draw once and then pick it up with the pickup tool and stamp it any other place that I might want to use it. See, if I change pages here, then I can use it at another place on the playfield where it might repeat. And if you want to get into this industry, you need to have a solid background in traditional art and illustration, and really study your basic anatomy and traditional illustration skills. I feel that there are many talented women and girls who would like the opportunity to use their artistic abilities, and the gaming industry is a very new industry, and I think it's in its infancy, and eventually there'll be more and more girls who will be attracted to the industry because they love to draw just as much as men love to draw, or boys love to draw. And as the industry grows and matures, I think there's going to be more and more opportunity for women in this field, just as in the film industry.
So you see, there's always hope. Even if artistic skills aren't in your repertoire, a lot of other ones certainly are. So good luck and keep playing.
Channel 5, I'm pinging inbound unidentified.